Today I have a special unboxing, and I also want to show you two very special notebooks that I keep, one for stamps and one for washi. So stay tuned. Hi, my name is Belinda. I'm the founder of Organize and Bless Mom, and I'm back with another creative idea. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you will know when a new video is posted. Well, friends, today I have a special package that just arrived, and I want to show you what came in and kind of what I do when I get new supplies. And I'm going to be showing you two special notebooks that I keep for my stamps and also for my washi. So let me turn around the camera and then we'll get started. All right, friends, let's start with the unboxing. So this was an order I got from Leo by mail. And if you don't follow Leo, oh my gosh, you really should. Leo has a really cool YouTube channel where she lists live every Saturday or almost every Saturday. And she has just a very easy and simple way to journal. And she does it by one of the ways is by traveler's notebooks. So I went ahead and I want to try different ideas that she is showing. In particular, one of the ideas that I liked was doing like a reading journal inside this traveler's notebook. So she has a bunch of different traveler's notebooks that you can buy on her site, leobamail.com. Like, this is the one I picked because of these really beautiful colors, and it does have one insert, a bunch of pockets, and this is from, I think it was called, what is it? Let's see. Daily Doodles. This is by the Doodlebug Design Inc. and it's a travel planner, and it has 24 page blank notebook in it. But I thought it was so pretty. I think the color is like, yeah, bubble gum is what they call this color. And I have really been enjoying my traveler's notebook. I have one from Carpe Diem that I do my gratitude list, or it's like I call it my grateful planner. And so I've been enjoying using that size, and I'm just gonna try to stick with this size and see if I can create more things inside. So I have also this set of washi tape that I got from Leo, that I ordered from her. It's from Simple Stories, and it's from the line that's called My Story. So this these are like the designs, and I'll swatch it here in a minute. But this line is all about telling your story, and it has a lot of book related icons and ephemera, and that's why I purchased it, because I want to start a reading journal, something really simple inside this traveler's notebook. And I am still waiting for more supplies, like the paper pad and stuff that I actually got from Simple Stories. So these are traveler's notebook inserts. There's one that's dot grid and one that's lined, and there's 24 pages inside. And this is by Carpe Diem. Also, Leo sells all these on her website. So this is dot grid. So I have been using Traveler's Notebook by Carpe Diem, and I do like their paper. Different notebooks, just feel different when you write in them, and so test some out and see how you like them. These are stapled, and I do see that sometimes these kind of get a little bit weak after you start using them, but hopefully they'll stay up. But I do like Carpe Diem's paper. It feels really good. I've been using it in my other planner, and it's been working. Also, Leo has several stamps that she uses in her traveler's notebook, And so I wanted to start doing this project that she does in her notebook. It's called the List Builder Currently stamp, and it has 24 stamps. So the concept is that you can do something like this, a currently list, every so often that you want. It could be every month or every 3 months, every quarter, whenever you want. And she has a bunch of different prompts here. So she has currently, and then you can pick whatever you want: watching, discovering, playing, listening, reading, learning, thinking, hoping, wishing, enjoying, liking, disliking, loving, going, doing. We have celebrating, drinking, eating, considering, trying, praying, planning, and feeling. So you can pick all of them or some of them or several of them. Plus, I think currently, and then picking the prompt is also a very useful stamp, since I do use a lot of stamps in my memory planner and memory journal. So these things, whenever I get new stamps and when I get a new washi, I always do something special with them. And so that's what I'm going to show you here coming up. But I did want to also just show you how I'm going to start just the supplies that I got to start my project. I hope to bring you my project either once I begin to do it or once I do it. And so I'm going to be doing more projects inside these travel journals, or what are they called, traveler's notebooks. And so you might see, hopefully, more things coming from this. So let's go ahead and let me go and show you my other notebooks that have to do with my washi and my stamp. All right, friends, so this is a notebook that I got from the graphic people, and I bought this at, let's see, graphicdefrance.com, and I love their notebooks. They are really really nice. This is a very pretty big notebook. I think it's like an 8 by 10, but I really liked it. I normally don't really like dot grid as much as I like lined, so I wanted to use this pretty notebook for something, and I just started to use it as like a washi notebook. So anytime I get some washi, I've kind of swatch it in here, and I'll write down like where I got it, the name if I can remember it, and just what colors the collection brought. And that way I just have it as a reference in case I really like something, or in case they get kind of separated in my craft room. I know, oh, okay, all these are, Archer and Olive and things like that. So I don't have a lot of things in here. There's a lot of space to grow, but I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these, and I'll write down later on off camera the name of these washi tapes, just so that I know when I bought it and where I got it, or what's the name or the brand. Let me see, I'm having trouble. There we go. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. All right, so this is some of these simple story washi that I got, and the roll is not that long, so I'm not gonna make these swatches very long, but washi goes a long way, so a little bit is enough. So this is another idea if you have, a notebook lying around and you really want to do something with that notebook. I use a notebook like this to just keep a record of my washi, so that I know, okay, these all came together, they came in the same box or in the same theme, and it just gives me a reference. When did I buy it? What company makes this? And then the colors. It's always nice to see just how the washi will look on paper, right? Let me know in the comments if you have any kind of a notebook like this where you keep, or where you wash maybe your, I know a lot of people do this for their like watercolors. So here are all the washis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful. We got some butterflies, then we have some like doodled flowers, and then some beautiful colorful flowers. This one is kind of like mustardy yellow, and it has some pretty like vines. And then my personal favorite, which is the little books, just stacks of books with the world. Just really, really, really pretty. So that's one idea of what I do when I get new supplies. I kind of swatch it and I put it in a notebook. So this is one idea that you can use, you know, a notebook for. And let me show you what I do with my stamps and the stamping notebooks that I have. When I get new stamps, I always like to just get a feel for the stamps, and that's where these stamping notebooks came about. So I had these moleskin notebooks that I had purchased, and I wasn't really using them because I used one of them for a whole, I filled it up, but I realized that the paper wasn't kind of the thickness that I liked. So I kind of just used one, and then just kind of had these two other ones. I think this was a 3-pack. So what I did is I thought, well, I get a lot of stamps and I want to try them out. So I just did a little cover here and I put stamps. I didn't know I was gonna fill this book up. That's why I had to do number 1 and then number 2. And so the purpose of this book is just to stamp out all my stamps. So this is a place where I try out every single stamp in a, you know, when I get a new stamp, or even my old ones. I don't have a big collection of stamps. For example, this is one stamp set. So it has 3 March and then the three stars. So I dedicate a whole page to them. And so I like to just test out the stamp, get a feel for it, and also that way I don't have to remember, have I prepped the stamp? Is it ready or not? I just prep the entire thing all at the same time, and that's what I'm going to show you here in a minute, how I do that. These are all kinds of stamps that I've gotten over the years, and doing this practice gets me familiar with what's on the stamp, how the stamp feels, and getting used to, you know, how to get the stamp to come out in the best way. Some stamps are different than others, so some of them you do have to, you know, be a little bit more rough. Some of them you don't, because if you're too rough, then, you know, the edges kind of smear. So it's just like here you can tell, oh, you know, I didn't ink it enough, so that's why I got that you know, that blank. And so those kind of things I want to be aware of, so that when I go and stamp, I can get the best impression possible. This is from all, these are all the stamps that I have. Usually each page is 1 stamp set. Sometimes they do run into 2. But my favorite place for stamps is Studio Calico. I buy a lot of Studio Calico, also Everyday Explorers. I also do enjoy the stamps from Catherine Pooler, and of course Simple Stories, Echo Park paper has some good ones. I find a lot of my stamps on scrapbook.com, and some of them, like this one's an old one from Michael's. So I do have some, especially in this book, I have a bunch of them from like Joann's that I got long time ago. This is my notebook number 2 for stamps, and this is where we're gonna stamp today. We are going to test out these stamps that I just got. My currently stamp is gonna go in here. I also, once I stamp and try out all the stamps that are in the new stamp set, I mark it with a little check mark so that I know that if the stamp has a little check, that means I have prepped the entire stamp, and I don't have to prep it. It's just ready to ink up and to be used. This is one of my favorites. This is from Close to My Heart. I like this one too. Close to My Heart has some really pretty stamps as well. That's how pretty that one is. This is from Catherine Pooler. I love her stamps. They're so pretty. This one I got at Tuesday Morning. It has really pretty fonts. This one's one of the ones that I use the most, the Memories one. Got it from Tuesday Morning. I think it's an American Crafts. Okay, let's get to the page where I want to stamp for today. Just an idea for you if you are looking to do something with those notebooks. You have a notebook laying around and you say, what can I do with a notebook? This is an idea, and it just kind of gives you a record. If I usually, when I'm looking for a stamp, I usually go to my stamp box and I will you know, search through the box, but I certainly could just look through these pages instead. Okay, so today I'm going to use this black soot from Tim Holtz and Ranger. I have a favorite black, but it is looking a little dried up, which is my favorite one. It's a stamp from Studio Calico, but I'm going to use, I usually don't use this black, so I know it's nice and inky. So one of the ways that you can, so there is a film on these stamps, and you can either run an eraser on top of that. I usually just use the back, my arm here. You can use your hand here, your palm, or just run your fingers on top of it. That way you get that film off, and your ink, I think I'll do it this way, your ink will go best. So there's 2 ways. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but there's 2 ways of inking up a stamp. You can ink it up this way, where you put the pad to the stamp, and or you could do it that way as well. So I'll show you here in a minute with the small one. So since this is just play, what I like to do is just try to press it onto the paper as much as I can so that I get all the ink just organically, you could kind of say. But you see there where the R, and the E, I'm gonna have to be careful with the stamp. And then I do have this Lawn Fawn chamois. You get it wet, and then you just use it to clean off your stamp when you're finished, and voila, your stamp is ready to use. So that's what I call prepping my stamp. It's simply going through each of these prompts or stamps. Each of these is a stamp, and you put it on one of these acrylic blocks, and you just ink it up, and it is ready to use. So I always do this with my stamps. I want my stamps to, you know, be in their best optimal, most I want them to look really nice on the page. And so the other way you can ink up a stamp is just by tapping it over the ink and then just kind of looking at it to see if there's any more ink that you need to get on some of these, and then just press it. And one more time. Usually you can get about 3 or 4 depending on how inky the stamp is. So I am going to keep these here on the side just so that I know which ones I've done so far. And that's the process that I take for prepping my stamps. I think this is this makes your stamps come out much better. And I used to not prep them, and then I would notice that the ink wouldn't grab as well. So I started to do this kind of try out. I could tell the G on these for some reason gets very inky. I don't know if you can tell, but the latter part of these words is inking up so much better than the front part. And sometimes too, like, there's ink that gets in between, so I can put in my little fingernail and try to clean those up a little bit more. The good thing about these clear stamps is that you can see, you know, how well you're inking it, as opposed to, for example, a stamp on a block, which is, the stamps on the blocks are very fun as well. Let's see if we can get a little bit more words in here. So this is another way that you can use a notebook, so you can practice inking. And if you, especially if you're starting out and if you're nervous using stamps on your, you know, scrapbook pages, your journal pages, you can also, let's see, let me come over here. You can also stamp on cardstock or on, you know, copy paper, and then just cut out the stamp and glue the stamp as if it were like a sticker, instead of stamping directly on your project, in case you feel, you know, those, I feel nervous. I don't think, you know, I'm so nervous that it's not gonna, maybe I didn't ink it up right. And when you do it on just paper, if it doesn't look good the first time, you can, you know, keep on stamping it until it looks good enough for you. For example, this currently would not have looked nice on my project. So that's why you always kind of want to test it too. Let's see, is that backwards? Yeah. One tip I'm going to give you for stamps is that sometimes you have to be careful with your block. So if you're when you're out buying blocks or ordering these acrylic blocks for your stamps, it's best, or what I found is, it's better to have a block that has a grip. So this one does not have a grip, it just has like a edge. So it's very easy for me to lose in trying to, or just by mistake, just like dropping. And that has happened to me before. That's why I'm telling you. Sometimes after you've gotten this perfect impression, as you're picking it up, you drop it, and oh my god, it's like the saddest thing, because then you get some kind of ink on your paper or on your project, and it is the worst feeling in the world. So to avoid that, get you some acrylic blocks that have grooves in them, so that it is easier for you to handle the stamp. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me grab one. All right, so this is what I was talking about. You can get something like this. This is in a big acrylic block, but there's these grooves around it that help me to grab it while I'm using it. Same thing, for example, this is probably one of my favorites, and it's from Ali Edwards, but there's a groove here all around the acrylic block, and so I can grab it really well, and I have something to hold on to, versus something like this that has just a straight edge. These are very tricky, especially as you get, you know, smaller and you're trying to get that little bitty stamp. So if you're in the market, get some stamps with these grooves or some kind of texture here in the, so that you can grab it. I know it's so much easier to stamp when you have something to grab onto. I mean, there's all kinds of sizes, and then my preference is also to have my stamp with lines. So you can see here that this stamp has lines, and so you can line up your I should have used this size probably for the big stamp. So when you want it to be really perfect, get also an acrylic block with lines. That'll help out. And then another thing I wanted to just mention is, when you get new ink, it's really nice to just play around with it. So one of the reasons why Distress Oxide ink is not one of my favorites is because it does smear. So you can see here where it does get on your fingers, and if you're not careful and you're trying to keep your project really nice and clean, you do have some smearing from, and then, you know, depending on your paper, there will also be ghosting. Distress oxides are very juicy. Not as juicy as Catherine Pooler, those are super juicy, but these will you know, they'll show up. That's why my favorite ink is Studio Calico, and I think I did on one of these a test. Let me see. So on this notebook, I did do a test, an inking test here, and you can see here these two ones, you can't really tell much, but they are lighter. So I did do Pink Fresh ink, Dioxide, Studio Calico ink, Catherine Pooler, scrapbook.com, and these are scrapbook.com, and they're like really light colored, close to my heart, in two different colors. So my favorite are the Studio Calico. You can see here, this is a Studio Calico black ink, and it does come out, but look at this. This Catherine Pooler is a really light lime, and it still comes out even darker than the black Studio Calico ink. So it's just preference, you know, and the kind of paper you're used to using. They're all going to give you the ghosting unless they're super light, like these pink. These are very, very faint colors from scrapbook.com, but my favorite is that black from Studio Calico. I think it's the one that gives the least amount of ghosting. So those are my tips. So one last thing I do with my stamps is turn all my stamps into a pocket. So instead of having to open this up every single time, what I do is I will cut here. I'll cut this part off of the plastic and make this packaging a sleeve. So now this is a sleeve that I can, you know, easily access my stamp every time that I want it. And I don't have to deal with this packaging. And I always put a little check mark at the back, and that check mark tells me I have prepped the stamp and the stamp is ready to go. I can just ink it and start stamping, and I don't have to ask myself, did I prep this stamp or not? I already did it. So that is what I do with my stamps and how I get them just ready for me. It just gets me a little bit more comfortable in using it and seeing how it's going to come out, and just playing around with my supplies. Well, friends, thank you so much for coming to see the video today. I hope it just gives you some ideas of how you can prep your stamps. I hope those stamping tips helped. If you have any notebooks that you want to use, you can do something like I do with the washi, or use it for prep or stamping and prepping your stamps. And thank you for coming to watch this haul as well. I hope to bring you more projects that I'll be doing inside these travelers notebooks. All right, friends, as always, if you like the video, please leave it a like. And if you have any comments on any of the supplies that I use, you can leave them down below. All right, friends, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.